Hello artists, this is Castle here, and we are going to do a cylinder with oil pastel. Now this my coffee cup isn't exactly like we did in the first video of the Learn to Draw 3D videos. There are some differences, but overall it's still a cylinder. I am going to lightly draw. How this is different is we don't see the whole ellipse at the top. It's still there, but the top is pretty much eye level, so it's just going to be a slight curve. And then I'm going to bring my sides down. See that? Okay. I'm going to bring my sides down. They taper in. The bottom is narrower than the top, and then at the bottom there's a nice little curve. I'm going to put another, well, this one kind of goes slightly that way now that I look at it more carefully, and the band, the rubbery band around the middle kind of goes like this. This one goes the same way, and it kind of dips in a little bit. So that's pretty much what we have. I know it is extremely difficult to get things exactly the same on both sides. That's just part of how drawing is, and don't worry about it if it's not perfect. Mine is not, so I'm not gonna penalize you very much. My table, unless it's really off, then I might take points off. My table kind of goes like this. Oops. I'm gonna work on getting it pretty straight in. All right. I should probably use a ruler, but I don't want to take the time and get one. That's still kind of off, but the idea is there. If I were doing it for myself, I would put more time into it. Okay, and I'm also going to show part, the shadow. And part of the shadow comes from the front right there. And halfway. That's the darkest part of the shadow, and there's a little bit of light shadow that goes that way, and a little bit less up there. Okay. Now, now we're pretty much ready to draw or start adding color. Okay, I'm going to do the yellow parts first. I'm going to start out by checking my pastel and see if it needs to be wiped off. There was a little bit of red on there, so I definitely want to clean it off. And I'm going to put my base color, my base of yellow, all across here. I'm probably going to use some black for this part and this part, but I want to leave that until last because the black is really intense. And actually I might not even use black. I might show you a trick with some other colors, and it's gonna be more colorful and be more in line with what we're doing. Okay, so I've got my base coat of yellow, and I'm going to look at where my shadows are. like from about here over is where my darkest shadow is. So I'm going to lightly put some purple on. This is purple, but here it's looking brown because it's mixing with the yellow. And my darkest part is right here. So I'm going to put a little more purple there, and it lightens up. Then I'm going to take my yellow again, and I'm going to blend. With the oil pastel, when you're coloring in, especially if you do swirls, the pastel kind of blends itself, which is rather cool. And I'm going to add more yellow over here because we want it to be kind of intense. Okay, I'm going to add, like right here, the shadow looks darker than it does down here because there's white paper and there's a lighter gray next to. There's a little bit of shadow there, but there's a lighter gray. That's next to there, so it makes that shadow look a little bit lighter. So we're gonna fake it and make that little area darker. Okay, I'm gonna use this lighter yellow pastel, which isn't gonna, I'll do a little bit. I've got this lighter yellow, so I'm going to blend that on this side to lighten it up a little bit, and I'm gonna mix into my purple shadow. I'm gonna do a little bit more here, go all the way down to the edges of things, or up to the edges, over to the edge. That goes a long way to making good craftsmanship. And when you pay attention to those small details, it makes the whole thing a whole lot better. And I'm looking at the details. So now we're starting to get more roundness because I've got the lighter on this side and I've got darker on this side. Okay, next. Okay, here's where I'm going to show you a trick to get a nice dark color using two darks. It's probably not going to matter which color I use first. So I'm going to start with my, what they call purple, but this is like a navy dark blue. So I'm going to be very careful not to try not to smear it into my yellow, because then that'll turn it green. And we don't want that much green. Then I'm going to take this dark, or this reddish brown. It's not orange, it's not red, it's a reddish brown. Okay, so I'm going to add some more blue. And I'm going to do the swirlies to blend in my reddish brown. And I'm getting a nice dark color. It looks like it could almost be black, or it could be very close to being black. Then we're going to put some highlights on with some white. Oops, I forgot my lid. We'll do the lid real quick.
Add some more.
And we want to get most of the little speckles covered in. It's a little bit more challenging with the oil pastel than it is with the chalk Pastel. There, I like that. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing up here at the top. My edge first, like I did the other time, and or with my
And in the middle.
and I'm gonna do something with this little detail in there, but I want to get my basic color down first. Now I'm going to add some highlights with my white, and I need a paper towel. All right. Now, the places where my highlights are, I've got a highlight right there. I've got a highlight right there. And I've got a highlight around that little dip place where my lip goes, my lower lip goes when I go to drink. And a little bit on the top there and there. So. I'm going to put a little highlight there. Oops, I didn't see that. I've got some there. A little bit here. And I'm also going to blend a little bit more white into this side, or a little white, because that's the very brightest side. And let's see, there's
A little bit of reflected light.
coming up here from the table. Let's see, I'm going to blend that a little bit because it's very faint. Shadow, when you do your final piece, you're gonna be adding shadows if you pick still life. You have the dark center part of the shadow,
And
the light shadow there, and there's a little bit. So I'm going to mix some of my dark blue, and having my cup be basically warm and my shadow being cool will help them both stand out. And I'm pressing very, very lightly.
I'm not putting.
Now I'm going to blend. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put some purple in here too. And then I'm going to blend some more. I'm going to add purple part way through that shadow so it lightens up. This is gray, incidentally, if I didn't say so before. Okay, we're probably not going to start with white for a shadow. I want to gray that down. I'm trying to, let's I need it to be a little bit more neutral. So I'm going to use some of that reddish brown in the middle part of the shadow. And I'm pressing very lightly. And I'm going to go back with my gray.
And kind of blend that in.
So those, the blue and the purple and that brown are kind of complements. They're close to being complements, so they're going to neutralize each other. Okay. Now for my table, I'm blending some white into that lighter shadow. And I'm blending white partway into that shadow. I'm going to blend white into the lighter part of the shadow. I'm going to bring that part of the shadow kind of around to the front. And our background is dark. I'm lightly putting in some of that dark blue. I'm going to use the other brown. There's a reddish brown, and then there's like the potato skin brown. I'm going to use that brown. These are almost complements again. Brown is kind of dark orange and dark yellow. And I'm going to layer some more blue on top. I'm still pressing lightly. This is one of the techniques that we learned in the oil pastel for beginners, like light coverage. We don't want to put a lot of detail in the background, so this kind of helps with that. And this being kind of speckly helps the close things, the table and the cup that are done a little bit with much more detail stand out. There's our 3D, our shading to make our cylinder look like a cylinder and get some close space and far away space. Cool, okay. Use the same colors to start with, and no black. We didn't use one single speck of black. And actually I'm going to darken this up a little bit in the middle. But we've got some colors in here that are really, really close to looking black because of the way your eye mixes the colors together. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so have fun, take your time, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll come around and check on you.